Happy Leap Day, everyone. My name is Serenity and welcome to my channel, Flourish, Faith and Fiber. And today I am on a day or two early because I just wanted to say Happy Leap Day, and I got a lot done after finishing the blanket that I was working on as a Christmas gift, and so I just wanted to come on and show you everything that I have done. This is Flourish Creatively podcast number 17. So I hope you all are having a good extra day in this 2024 year. And as I said, I just wanted to share some things that I have been working on the last couple of weeks. So thank you for joining me. I do appreciate you watching my videos, from those that watch all the way to those who are subscribed, and give a thumbs up and make comments. I appreciate every one of you, and I know it is said a lot in podcasts, but I really think that as podcasters, we do appreciate all the people that take time to watch our videos and come back and watch them again and again. So really appreciate you. Please know that from my heart as well as others, it is spoken sincerely. And so, yeah, I appreciate you joining me on this journey. As the channel name suggests, it's a journey by YouTube through our faith and growing in our faith in Jesus, and also in our creativity. So this podcast is all the creative things that I have been working on. Love to know what you have been working on, busy with at the end of February, what your plans are for March. So we're going to look at what I did finish in the last 2 weeks, or by the end of February. All right, the first thing is the blanket that I finished. I'm not going to show it because I have actually given it to our friends, co-workers, they're both friends and co-workers. Their oldest child got the blanket. He loves chess. It is the Checkmate Blanket. I have a lot of information in my past podcast, and so I will link the latest one that I talked about here so that you can check that out. And of course, where I got the pattern will be linked in the description box below. It is a paid for pattern, and I will also you can go to my Ravelry page, which is linked. All the ways that you can connect, which I didn't say earlier, that you can connect with me, are listed in the description box. You can check out my Ravelry page of all my finished projects, and that project and everything about it is linked there as well. So, so I will put the photograph here. You can see the finished blanket. Because I was pulling the yarn through, so I carried the black and the white through, it did kind of change my tension every once in a while, because I'd look at the blanket and I'd be like, oh, you can see too much white through the black, or too much black through the white. I need to be pulling tighter. And so it did change the tension a little bit. I did not block it. It's going to a young man who is going to use it, and it'll be washed, and so I didn't feel like I needed to block it. But I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I used the camel stitch border. It is doing half double crochet through that very back loop, the third loop. So the V on the top, there is right behind that, there is a loop, and you do half double crochet through that. So it's just, I think I did 5 to 6 rows of the half double crochet. Then I ended with single crochet through that same very back third loop, so that that last row of half double crochet would also flip forward, so it looks like that there are chains running through the front of the border. So I really am happy the way that turned out. The second thing, which you may have seen at the beginning of the video, is my frog. So I did not officially join the make-along, the hashtag LeapFrogMal 2024, officially being that I didn't do a frog every week. But I was watching a video by, I'm going to check my notes because I want to make sure I get this right, by Yarn and Whimsy Designs. And the video was her ranking her top 25 amigurumi patterns. This one was number 5, and it is called Frog in a Flower. It is by Wonder Crochet. So all of that, the Yarn and Whimsy Designs channel, I will link below, as well as where I found the pattern online. If you check out her video, she also puts that in her description box below. But this is a free pattern by Wonder Crochet. You only sew on the eyes. Everything else, from the feet to the flower petals, are crocheted in, all in one piece. So extremely easy design and super cute. When I saw it on her channel, I couldn't pass it up. I had been watching other people who had joined in the hashtag LeapFrog make-along, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to, at least for 1 week, join in and make this really adorable frog. And like I said, it was super easy. So let me tell you about the yarn first. I used yarn by Alizé. It is called Voluto. Let me show you the label. There it is. It is Voluto. And it's a 100-gram ball, or 3.5 ounces. There's 68 meters, so it is a 5 bulky weight yarn, and I think it's 100% micro polyester, and it is amazing yarn. I have watched podcasts talk about blanket yarn. I think it's Bernat blanket yarn, and they have either a love or a hate relationship with the yarn for different reasons. I saw somebody who tried something different, and I can't remember, from one of the big box stores in the US which one it was, but it shed all over them. This yarn doesn't shed unless you're pretty rough, or when you cut the yarn, little pieces may come off. But as you're crocheting with it, it doesn't shed. It is super soft yarn. It is so nice to work with, and so there's no color name, so I use this green that's kind of an olive green, and then I found this like pinky purple, and so this is what I use. This is what I have left of a 100-gram ball after making the petals. I also use the pink on his cheeks up here, or her cheeks, and yeah, and this is what I have left from making the eyes, the feet, and the body of the frog. So from a 100-gram skein, or 3.5 ounce ball of the yarn. So you do, oh, and I used a 5mm hook. It seems to work for me with this bulky yarn. I am a tight crocheter, but the first amigurumi I made using this yarn, I followed Cassandra at Craftably Ever After. It's her pumpkin buddy, which I'll attach or put that in the description box below. And her suggestion in the pattern was a 5mm hook, and it's worked perfect for me since then. Not sure how big these eyes are millimeter wise. I didn't measure them. I guess I could have, but I didn't measure them. But they are the largest. I got a set of eyes, and I used the largest one for the eyes for this. And so what you do is that you crochet the flower petals, you tie them off. You don't have to save enough of a tail to weave in because you don't weave them in. But I did put the tail inside as kind of a little bit of stuffing. You don't stuff the petals either. And then you make the eyes. You do save enough tail because you do sew in the eyes. And then you make the feet. One of the changes that I did accidentally is that I did do an extra row on the feet, but I actually like them because the feet are quite hidden, and that extra row helps them pop out, I think, a little more. And so then you start crocheting the body. You start from the top, and as you crochet from the top, when you get down to the rows, you crochet the petals on. So you're actually crocheting this way. As you go around, you crochet through both sides of the petal and into the stitch. And then you crochet, and you do the same thing with the feet. So you get to this row and you attach the feet as you go around, and then the bottom is where you've decreased all the way and tie off. So you start at the top and go to the bottom, and everything is on, and then you sew the eyes in place. And I used just a scrap DK weight. I did double it, scrap yarn for the mouth, and I used the same yarn that I did on the petals for his cheeks. And that's all the embroidery. It is so easy. So Yarn and Whimsy does markets, and a lot of her patterns are what she uses in her markets, were big sellers. As I said, this one is number 5, and it takes more than half of the skein or the ball of yarn. But I would say for the green, it takes right around half. You could probably get 2 frogs, at least 2 frog bodies done with one skein. So it doesn't take tons of the yarn, and very quick because it is only sewing the eyes on. So I can see why it's a great pattern for market. I think I will definitely do another one. I'm thinking about giving this one away, so I want to do another one for me. But yeah, I know a young lady who would probably appreciate this, and so it may be going to her later on. Great pattern. Check out Yarn and Whimsy designs, and especially if you do amigurumi for markets, because she did that video with her top 25 is really a good video. So check that out, and happy Leap Day to you all. All right, moving on to the next thing that, and the frog's going to sit and look at me. The next thing that I did is that I completed a set of, or I completed 2 washcloths. Okay, so the washcloths that I knit is a pattern called the Moss Stitch Washcloth by Nimble Needles. His name is Norman, who has that channel, and I really like it. It is, well, I like the way it comes out with, even when it stretches, the holes are not huge. And so that's why I like knitted washcloths, but this pattern, and I'll hold it up and see if you can see, the moss stitch comes out not really with bobbles, but it has texture to it. Not rough, because the yarn is incredibly smooth, but it has a texture that's good for scrubbing, good for, I use it to wipe countertops off, and I really love the pattern. So this is actually the right side up. And so you knit 3, and then you do the moss stitch, and then you knit 3. And then of course the border is just garter stitch for about 5 rows of garter, top and bottom. And I didn't block it because why? It's a washcloth. It's going to get wet. It's going to get used. It is an amazing pattern. And it is a pattern I used when I was learning how to knit, because the moss stitch is a combination of knit and purl stitches. It gives great practice for knitting. And there's no increase, decrease. It's practicing those knit and purl stitches, how to cast on, it's a long tail cast on, and how to just do a regular bind off. And it is great practice for those stitches. And I do it the continental method. I've thought about putting a video up showing me knit. I'm a very slow knitter, but showing how I knit as somebody who was a crocheter first and foremost for many years, and then learned to knit later on doing the continental method. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments. I'm willing to be vulnerable. Those of you that are long time expert knitters may go, what in the world is she doing? But I think it will help those that, as I said, have started out with crochet and are trying to learn how to knit. So if you're interested, let me know below. So the yarn I used for this is, I love this yarn, and it is Twist. So I love this yarn, Twist, and it is actually, the colorway is Monkey Red, because on the inside is a pattern to make the sock monkey. It is super soft, wonderful yarn, amazing. I love how the red and the white are twisted together, and it comes in, as I've seen online when I was putting the project on Ravelry, it comes in monkey red and monkey brown. I don't know that it comes in any other colors. You can get I Love This Cotton, but as far as the twist goes, it may only be monkey red and monkey brown. But really, I'm super happy with the yarn. So the needles that I use, I've got them on a circular needle because I use my Knit Pro, and they are Carbons needle, and it is the kit where it comes with several different sizes of cable, and it goes from, I think the smallest is 3. There may be a 2 millimeter or a 2.5 millimeter, but it goes up to a 6 millimeter. And there's, in the kit, they have empty spaces for you to, if you buy more, you can actually put them in the kit, because they've got the elastic that holds the needles, and they've got some empty spaces, so you can obviously add to that kit. I did get it as a Christmas present. It was ordered off of Amazon, so you can find them on Amazon, and I really like it. It is Carbons, or Carbons. I probably should say Carbons. That's probably, it starts with a K, so that throws me off on how to pronounce it. But I really like it. It is metal tips and wood for the shank of the needle. So I really like it, and very smooth and easy to do. So yeah, I love this pattern. Check out Nimble Needles. It is a great pattern. Even if you are not a new knitter, it is a great pattern because they make exceptional washcloths, heavy duty, really great washcloths. And I love this cotton. I'm very impressed with Hobby Lobby's cotton. And even there, I love this yarn. I'm going to talk about a couple of others, I think, at least one other one that I'm really impressed with as well. So I did 2 washcloths. I gave one to a friend of mine. And, and this, what I showed you, is the amount that is still left in the one hank. I know I can get at least 2 more, maybe 3. It'd be fun if I could get 4 more and just give them away as gifts because they make incredible washcloths. All right. So the 4th finished. So I've got the blanket. I finished the frog for leap day. 2 washcloths. The next thing I finished, there it is a donut. You'll have to come back for the next episode in order to find out why I made a donut, but I made a donut. And I got this pattern, so this is the donut. I'll show you all sides of the donut. So I got this pattern off of a YouTube channel called Little Crochet Farm. It has a lot of subscribers, so you may have heard of the channel before. And this is a no-sew pattern. And you start out in the middle of the donut on the basic dough side, and then you get to the last row here, and then you add a row of slip stitches around, and then you start on the inside and then seam them together. So check out her video that I will link below, and these are so much fun to make. And I'm absolutely, as much as I am in love with my little frog, I am in love with this donut. And it was so much fun to make, and it is so cute. I'm definitely going to make more of them. So the yarn that I used for the dough was L cotton, double knit, and I used a 3.0 millimeter hook for this. It is 100% cotton, made in South Africa. This is a 50-gram ball. Didn't take much to make that little half of the donut. And then for the pink, I was just pulling out some cotton yarn that I had, and in the L cotton, I have purple. Thought about doing purple frosting or yellow frosting, but I decided to do pink just because I love pink. And I found this cotton in my collection. It's called Venice Colors. The color is pink, and Neekum is a DK weight yarn, and so that is what I used for the frosting. And then I pulled out a bunch of scrap cotton for the little sprinkles that I put on top. I think it would make a great crochet kindness projects to make a bunch of these and just leave them sitting out for people to find and bring joy to them. Also a great market project, but I really love this donut and definitely want to make more. I didn't mention earlier, but the crochet hooks that I use, so I'm a big boy fan, and I do have a pencil knife pencil. I have a pencil grip. And so I have found, as far as ergonomic hooks go, that I really like the Tulip Etimo hooks. And I got a set of these for Christmas a couple of years ago, and they are the ones that I use most often. It was funny because I learned that there was this huge debate over Susan Bates and Boy, and I had a bunch of hooks and picked up some and would crochet. Got a lot from my mom, from my grandmother, And there was this one hook, or a couple of hooks that I had that were different. And I didn't like the way they crocheted for me. Found out they were Susan Bates. So I think, yes, there's a big, maybe there's a big discussion over what hooks to use, but I think it depends on, obviously, how you hold your hook, what feels comfortable in your hands, what slides through the yarn best for you. And so for me, it just happens to be the boy-shaped heads on crochet hooks, and that's one of the reasons I like the Etimo, the Tulip Etimo brand hooks. And so yeah, so that is the hooks that I use that I find work best for me. All right, anything else? Oh, I didn't mention the colorway of the bottom that I used is fudge. It's for those of you that live mostly in the Americas. You'll find this interesting, that fudge in South Africa, and I don't know if it came over from Britain as well. There's a huge European British influence here, but fudge is this color. It is not chocolate. It has the texture of what, as an American, I would know is fudge, but it's not chocolate. And so this is the colorway fudge, and that's why it is a light brown for those of you that are interested. All right, the last finished object that I have is I made a divine hat using this yarn from Yarn Bee, and obviously from Hobby Lobby, called Velvety Smooth Sparkle in the colorway purple. So this is the yarn that I used up close. I actually have this much left from a 3.5 ounce 100 gram ball. There were 161 yards or 147 meters in the ball, and so this is what I have left over from making this hat, this divine hat, and I really like it. Yeah, so there is the hat. I am not going to keep it on my head very long because it is summer here. And so this yarn is 94% polyester and 6% metallic polyester. So I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it. And I have to say, I'm super impressed with this yarn. I think the divine pattern looks really good in it, but as far as crocheting with this yarn, it was amazing. It didn't shed. It slipped through the hook well. I did frog a few times, and because of the sparkle more than anything else, I did pull very gently, but was able to frog quite a bit. I started out, which I'll talk about some changes that I made to the pattern. I started out with one hook and needed to change it, and so frogged out quite a bit, and it did fine. It's very soft, even with the sparkle in it, and I am so excited about wearing this when winter does come around. I made two, or at least one or two divine hats, and gave them away as gifts. So I've been wanting to make one for myself, and when I was in the US and at Hobby Lobby saw this yarn, I wanted to try it. And for me, it was great. I didn't have any problems working with this yarn. I even think it will make a wonderful amigurumi as well. So I made that divine hat. The changes that I did, so I used a 5.5 millimeter hook. So I found the pattern online at a place or at a website called Scribd, which I'll spell here and put a link to it below. I know there's tons of videos that you can watch for the Divine Hat pattern, but it is by Sarah Arnold. It is on Ravelry, but I also found it, as I said, written out on Scribd on that website. And so I just followed that, but did make a few changes. So the hook size, so it did call for a 4-weight yarn. And by the way, the Velvety Smooth Sparkle is a 4-weight, an Aran weight yarn. It is not a bulky weight yarn. And so I started out with a 6mm hook as the pattern called for, but was too big. I do have a smaller size head. I'm not quite 22 inches around. My hat size is like a 56. I just know that when I rode horses with my daughter, my helmet was a 56. And so, so I went down to a 5.5, and then it called for a 5.5 for the ribbing, and I went down to a 5 for the rib. And I did also make changes on the ribbing. The pattern called for the front post, back post ribbing, and I don't like that ribbing. I would rather do where you, when you finish the row, you chain, and then you single crochet in the back loop, and then you turn it around and you single crochet in the back loop. You do the slip stitches to the edge, and then you do it back and forth, single crocheting in the back loop. It takes longer, but I like that type of ribbing better. So I started doing that, but it was too loose. So I changed the ribbing to just single crocheting all the way around. I did single crochet because Bag a Day does this on several of her hat patterns. I did single crochet in the back loop. I also decreased the pattern. So the final round has 75 stitches. So when I did the single crochet to begin the border, or to begin the ribbing, I decreased the 4th and 5th stitch. So it is, because you do 4 double crochets in the space after the front post double crochet, then you do 4 double crochets in the space, and then so that 4th double crochet and the next front post double crochet, I decreased there all the way around, so 15 stitches. So I went from 75 to 60. Then I did another decrease. I decreased the 9th and 10th stitch. So I did 6 more decreases for a total of 54 around for the ribbing. And then the last 3 rows that I did, I just did single crochet back loop. So even when I decreased in the back loop of the single crochets, and that fit my head just fine. I guess if I was going to do this for someone else, that I might not decrease that second time around. I would decrease the first row, the first round, from 75 down to 60, but I might not decrease again. And I don't like my hats coming down here. That is another reason I changed from the chaining and single crochet in the back loop type of rib to just single crocheting around the hat, and only did 5 rows so that I didn't have a really thick rib that would come down to my eyebrows, because I don't like it that low. And I'm sure part of that is my bangs, or my fringe, as they say here. So anyway, very happy. Look forward to wearing that when winter comes along. So those were my 5 finished objects. This video is getting long. Let's move on to my works in progress. Okay, So I am still working on my husband's socks. I have said quite a bit about it, so won't go into too much detail, but it is the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern using my Yarnable subscription yarn, and I am halfway through the leg. I think I had just finished the cuff, started on the leg, so I've done quite a bit of rows. This is a project that I take with me on the go because it is small. If we're sitting at a coffee shop, riding in the car, it's easy to take socks along with me. So hopefully, I would think by the middle of March, I will be able to have both that sock finished so that he can wear both of them when winter comes along. So that's one work in progress. The other work in progress is that I am doing a slow stitching make-along, year-long make-along with Sarah Humphrey at Sarah Humphrey Embroidery, which I will link below. And she is starting a slow stitching. So slow stitching is where you don't use a ring and you just hold fabric, and it's not just embroidery. You're creating a design with scrap fabrics, and yeah. So anyway, I'll show you what I'm doing and what I have done so far. So I don't have a lot of scrap fabric. Even though I love to sew, I don't have a lot of scrap fabric, but I have a little bit. And so I picked this yellow that I picked is actually from, I made a cape for a drama production for a friend of mine. It was actually for her daughter, and I made a cape. And then I have this scrap fabric that I have put on, and we'll continue to add here. And so yeah, so there's several stitches. I'm a little behind, but I did get this much done where I picked out a few scrap pieces of fabric, cut them, placed them like I wanted them, and was able to do the basting stitches. I'll hold it a little closer. You can see some of the basting stitches. So I haven't actually started the embroidery part. I do have to catch up on that, but I was able to get the project started this last couple of weeks since I've been back. I didn't start it earlier in January because we were in the US, didn't have any scrap fabric with me, and so I did get a late start starting kind of the second week of February, and I did finish the blanket first before I started this. So I'm going to catch up. Hopefully I can get a lot of work on this and catch up fairly quickly with the different types of stitches. It's a practice. The reason she's doing it is to help, I think, get people into slow stitching. I think she finds a lot of joy in it. And so getting people into slow stitching, but also teaching new embroiderers several stitches and stitches that are good for slow stitching. So, so yeah, started working on that and a needle book. So she also has a video out about how to do your own needle book, where you put the different types of needles, different sizes of needles, to keep them all in a good and safe place. And so I did a little bit of cross stitch to put on my book as a little design to go on the top of my book. So I found this flower. I just Googled small cross stitch flowers, found that design, an image of that design. I actually don't know where it came from. I found the image and just did the design there. And I'm going to cut it out because your needle book is not going to be, it's not very big. And it's made with felt. And so I'm going to then stitch this on the cover of my needle book. So started that. We'll continue to work on the book as well. And my last work in progress is that I have started another, not very many rows in, but I have started another washcloth. So I've got the first, I think three. I think I did 3 rows. And this needle minder tip I got when I was in Europe at one of the yarn shops I went to. And I can't remember. I went to several places in Europe last year, and so I can't remember exactly what country that was in, but one of the local yarn shops in the cities that we were in Europe. Sweden, Norway. I don't think it was London, but it also could have been Greece when we went to Athens. Anyway, got that there. So those are my 3 works in progress. So what are my plans for the month of March? What can you look forward to seeing? I hope you look forward to seeing from me. Okay, first and foremost is to cast on my first ever knitted sweater using Premier Serenity Chunky. And I have given details about this, but just quickly, this is a 5-weight bulky yarn. It is in the colorway After Dark, and I have subscribed, I guess, to or bought a course for around $15 from Expression Fiber Arts from Shandy or Chandy. I always say that wrong. And the sweater is actually designed, it's called the Creary, and it is designed by Emily Walton. And they partnered together. Chandy will do the videos, the step-by-step instructions, but the pattern comes from Emily Walton. I was going to say Walton. And so all of that will be linked in the description box below. So I'm going to cast that on. It does call for 6 and 8 millimeter needles. Of course, I'll do the gauge swatch to see if that's what works for me. And yeah, get started on making my first knitted jersey and look forward to doing that. And so that's first, foremost. Second thing that I need to do is that I need to cast on my second sock. And so this is my first sock. I was using the Crazy Sock Ladies Morning Coffee sock pattern, which is like a broken rib all the way around. Really fun pattern, and then down the top of the sock. And my Yarnable subscription, this colorway is called Raspberry Cream. And so, yeah, plan on, oh, and by the way, for my socks, I use a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circular needles. I am a tight knitter, and so 2.5 works very well for me. And for my sock, I cast on 60 stitches. So I kind of adjusted her pattern for me because her pattern calls for 56, 64, and 72. And so I do 60, but still follow her tutorials, her instructions. And then for my husband, I cast on 72 stitches for him. So that's my second one that I want to do in the month. Third, I need to finish Jada and Stitch's calendar, Fair Isle style calendar blanket from last year. I just have the border to do. But as I said, it's been too hot to be working on a blanket. So if the temperatures cool off, I would love to get that done and get that border done, get the blanket completely finished from last year. And my fourth, I have a fourth and a fifth. Fourth, I want to do another divine hat. I bought this velvety smooth satin yarn from Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby. I got a gift card for Christmas, and this colorway is called Spa. And so I want to make a divine hat with this yarn. Same velvety smooth, but this one has the purple one I made had the sparkle. This one does not. So it is 100% polyester on this ball. And it is roughly the same, 161 yards and 100 grams. And so, yeah, want to cast on my hook another divine hat using this. And then I'll make a decision, which hat do I really want to keep and which one would I give away? Because I really like this color as well. I love the sparkle in the purple, but I really like this color way as well. And so that's that one. And finally, I want to cast on a Ross hat. So Ross has the YouTube channel, Smell Great Guy. He's known as, his podcast is Smells Like Yarn. And I want to use this Premier Bloom Chunky. I've had this in my stash. Bought it like maybe a year or two ago when I was in the U.S. and been wanting to do it. I'm not a fan of chunky yarn, but I figure a knitted hat with chunky yarn will be really nice for winter. And I just want to see, here's a picture of it. I just want to see those cute little flowers pop up on the hat. And you get that with knitting, not necessarily with all crochet. I think if you do just single crochets, you can. But I want to see those flowers pop up and wear a hat with flowers. Because not only do I love pink, I love flowers. And so, yeah, so I want to try to cast that on in the month of March. So it may be towards the end of March. We'll see, especially for the Jada and Stitches blanket, because we're still having fairly warm weather. We've had some overcast days, but still getting up into the 80s or above 25 Celsius. So, yeah, those are my plans for the month of March. So thank you for watching. If you've watched this long, I appreciate it. It's great to have you, watch my videos, and hopefully they will be an inspiration to you. Hopefully you'll find some patterns that you will be interested in, or other people's YouTube channels that you'd like to go and check out. And so hope you all have a wonderful leap day. We will see you next time. Bye-bye, y'all.